great. They improved the communication system in here. Awesome. Really good. All right, time being approximately 7 p.m., we will call the Thursday, May 22nd meeting of the Middleton Zoning Board of Appeals to order. Welcome, everyone. We have, first item on the agenda, our approval of minutes of April 24th. Has everyone had a chance to look at them?
See.
All right, any additions, corrections, deletions, changes, anything?
I'm just going to abstain from voting on them because
Okay.
I wasn't here.
either, yeah.
What's that?
I wasn't here last month, so I'm not.
You can still vote though, because
Yeah, as long as you read,
Okay.
as long as you watch the thing.
we did
Yeah,
it
I
Did you
last.
look at them?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
And
Do
I
you have any
read through
additions or changes?
So I'll accept the motion to accept
I'm
the
in the same
minutes
boat. I
of
wasn't
April
there
20.
either.
Oh.
I'll accept the motion to accept the minutes of April 24th.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right. Motion made and seconded. Any additional discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. All right. Item 2, continued public hearing, 223 Maple Street. It was an application for modification to a 2024 site plan. The applicant is proposing to add an addition. Do we have somebody here?
We most certainly do.
All right.
Did you already open the hearing? I can't remember.
did.
We
We
did?
did.
Okay, thank you. So Jill Mann here on behalf of the applicant in connection with a modification to the site plan. I apologize that it took so long, but part of the reason was I had to go back to the select board to be able to get a reduction on the liquor license to allow me to have only 25 spaces versus 30. Just quickly, that was a home rule petition. So when the selectmen rules specifically on that, they evaluate a whole bunch of different applications at one time. And the reason why they had voted for this particular application was not only the location, but also the number of parking spaces. So I needed to ensure that they were satisfied, and if I couldn't have reduced, I couldn't come here. So that's what I had done. So the Board of Selectmen has in fact approved the reduction from 30 to 25 spaces. Part of the reason for that was because the convenience store and the liquor store only required 16 parking spaces, and we had 30. And in order to make it just more, if you will, driver-friendly and delivery-friendly, we removed the parking spaces at the rear of the lot behind the building, and that was the 5. And then we did relocate some of the spaces just to make them a little bit more accommodating for customers. So that is one of the changes. It was relocation, and because we were removing spaces, we have to come back before you because it isn't a matter of just rejiggering, but reducing. So that was the first one. Second, when they actually were building out the liquor store itself, they determined that they needed a bigger cooler. They had a very small cooler, so now they're making the cooler about 1,100 square feet. And that requires a bump out in the back of approximately, let's just call it 600 feet. So they have to put on an addition of 600 feet, which again, obviously triggers site plan review by this board. When the cooler was put in, we had some discussions with Mr. Fitzpatrick about, being able to get around the building. Also conversations with Chief Lacoste about being able to get around the building. While you could do so, if there were ever any sort of a delivery and people were also parked back there, it would have had an impact, which is why we removed those 5 spaces. You have a copy of the plan, but I did print it out because sometimes it's easier to see. This is the exact plan, and that's why I'm giving it to you, with the select bin that the selectmen approved. Showing the 25 spaces.
I got it, Jill.
You're
Okay,
okay?
yeah.
And nothing behind.
Yeah, is this what I'm looking at?
It's when you
right here?
upload it, right?
No.
It's when you upload it,
Yes,
right?
but I just, how it is, sometimes I feel like I can see it better.
Yeah, I don't need that.
You okay?
Yeah.
I always
Thank
do
you.
guys.
I don't need that either. That's fine.
You good? So basically, we are seeking a modification to the site plan to allow those 2 accommodations for the liquor store. And as I said, it continues to comply with all density and dimensional requirements as well as parking. And a copy of the architectural plans for the cooler are included in your package. It's basically just a square box in the back with a door to allow deliveries, because all the deliveries will then be in the back of the building. The project currently is under construction. I think though that they have had to stop construction. So before we would be able to do anything, and before we'd be able to exercise the right to continue, we actually need to satisfy Mr. Fitzpatrick relative to a few things at the construction of the site. Is that a fair statement, Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
So that would be a condition that we have to add if and when the board chooses to vote on this. That would be one of the special conditions we add. You will note on this particular modification, in order to ensure that the general conditions and special conditions carry, I just literally repeated the special conditions in a draft decision, because I didn't want to lose that if somebody were to look at them.
Got it.
That just shows the conditions, so they're very brief.
No, that's fine.
But anyway, so we definitely have to add that special condition, should the board choose to approve.
What was your proposed language for that?
The proposed language would be that this particular permit is subject to obtaining all relief from the building department relative to the current building permit application, right? Is it just the application, or did it actually?
We issued a stop work order because they deviated from the approved plans, and the plumber built a non-handicap bathroom and decided to fight with our plumbing inspector over it. And the licensed construction supervisor has not been supervising the job as required, so we issued a stop work order.
So we have to
Thank you.
secure, yeah. I
Thank
didn't
you.
know all those details, I appreciate that.
So before we even get to this, I have some questions, actually.
Okay, just,
And I'm
Craig
sure,
had asked
I'm
that
sure the other
question.
members do.
Wait, can I?
Craig had
wait,
asked.
Oh, he's in the
like-
middle of it.
Like, we're literally in the middle.
Oh, you're still presenting?
You know, he asked me a question, I was responding to.
So what, so subject, and then Scott interjected, so what's
So it'd be sub-
subject to obtaining all necessary approvals from the building commissioner relative to the stop work order?
Sure.
Yes.
Okay, carry on.
Good? Okay. So, so the original plan had 30 spaces, is that right?
Yes, it is.
And now we're going to 25?
Yes.
Were the 30 spaces already in deficit of what was necessary and required?
No, they were always overparked by 14 spaces.
They were overparked by 14
Always,
spaces?
yes.
Okay, so we have 25 spaces, so we only need 11? 16?
Right.
Yeah, that's the chart.
Okay. And the dimension in the back of the building, I see a diagonal dimension. I think it says 14 feet from the edge of that first parking stall, number 15. I'm presuming that the fire department wants adequate circulation around the building? So if there's a car parked where it says space number 15, and-
That's because you need to look at the new plan.
Yeah, that's
The
the
one
old
that the
plan.
board of selectmen approved. Sorry.
okay.
It's
We
the,
took those out for just that reason, Mr. Benevento.
Okay.
Because it was, you're 100% correct, it was a pinch point.
if you want to look at it on the computer, you
Yeah,
can
which-
go back, or just hit that, yeah. Or
Come on,
hit
come on
the X,
again.
just close it,
the X, just that, okay.
and then, go back to this meeting.
Oh, my goodness.
Technology.
Okay.
Application materials.
Yeah.
And it's listed first, it's the.
Oh, it's the first one.
revised
Skip revised plan, got it. Yep, okay.
And now you won't be able to see it, so zoom in. There you go.
So now the narrowest dimension's 13.8 feet.
Around the back?
Yeah.
And the fire department's okay with that?
That's just to the drive aisle, though, right?
They
Correct,
did
yeah.
approve
There's
the
still more room
updated
than that,
plan,
Rich,
yes.
so, right? Isn't there
Well,
more
that's
room?
to the guardrail.
Oh, is that the third, okay, I see it, yeah.
Yeah, I believe Doug sent a comment, right?
Yeah. Where else?
And he was good with that. 13.7.
I'm a little troubled that, once again, we have, and it's no reflection on you at all, but that we have another applicant that started a project and then just kind of skirted the responsibilities of their permit. And so now you're before us to request a modification, and I guess we're supposed to hope that they follow the provisions of the permit this time, because they didn't the first time.
This permit they followed, they haven't followed the building code. They violated 100%.
Yeah, whether it's a permit of the building code
All right,
or
well,
whatever,
just- yeah.
this is not the Wild West, you know.
I agree.
They need to be following this stuff.
I agree.
And so, I personally have a problem, I'm one vote, but I have a problem with these kinds of things where, and it sounds like there was a few things, Scott, right? I mean, the
It has not
plumbing-
been a smooth project so far.
Yeah, no, it has not.
let's maybe go to the other members. Mr. Renaud, questions, comments?
I don't have much. I just, I'm assuming that Doug's looked at the turning template for his vehicles, right? So everything's
Yeah,
gonna
we went
work. I mean,
through
I see it shown, but it doesn't look like it's big enough for the vehicle, but I'm assuming. that
Yeah, we
he's
went
looked at it.
through it with Doug, and Doug actually, I apologize, Chief LaCoche
Chief
did look
LaCoche,
at it,
sorry,
yes.
That's all
Anything
I
else,
have.
Bill?
That's all I got, man.
Carol?
Yeah, is there something from Doug? I just don't see it in the drive.
There was an email.
Yes, I don't have it in the drive.
Okay, that's
I
fine.
can upload it. So we reviewed this all together. The initial comments from him are in the planner report. And then that's what I had not
okay.
updated, but he had followed up this week after reviewing the updated site plan and said he has no concerns.
Okay,
Cool.
that's about it right now for me. Thank you.
Anything else?
No, I don't think so.
No? Yeah.
Scott, how assured do you feel that things are going to progress smoothly from now here on?
Well, they're not getting a permit unless they fix what they have to fix.
I think that's going to happen.
His building's open to the weather right now, so I would think so.
Okay.
A bit of a motivation. And there is weather going on.
Yep.
Certainly.
There's some serious weather here.
Serious weather.
There you go.
Okay. Ian?
That's my
Greg?
fear.
Anything? Linda? Nothing. Is there anyone here from the public? Standing room tonight. Yeah, fortunately, you can hold the permit up, and I'm glad that we're able to do that, because I do have, this is the kind of thing that bothers me a little bit. I guess, based on the information that we've been provided, and the fact that the select board have gone through this as well, and they've approved whatever they needed to approve, I think we just have to follow what we have to do. I mean,
How often do you check in on them?
Well, typically, we only go down when there's, when they call for inspections, but we've had issues with the construction supervisor, so we have been checking in, because if he's not
Like weekly? I don't
If
even
he's
know.
not fulfilling his obligation,
Yeah.
we're gonna file a complaint against his license with the state and ask that the BBRS take his CSL away, or at least suspend it. Because this is a case where, he's not on site and he's not supervising as required. So, there's been no one there working for about a month. That's when we issued it.
did the select board have any of these concerns?
I was before them a month and a half ago.
Are they aware that
Before- It was way before. They approved it before this happened.
Okay, and is the owner applicant, is there a reason they're not here tonight? Probably for fear that,
No, honestly, my secretary called him, I think. I mean, he should be here. He knows when the thing is, and he doesn't usually shy away. He's not like that at all.
He's
So-
subject of another enforcement at another location
Yeah,
in
100%.
town. So,
I mean, personally, I would prefer to continue until our next meeting and have them come in here so we can have a discussion. But, again, that's just me. So, we have something before us, and Mr. Hartwell.
Mr. Chair, if you'd like, I'll make a motion for findings. That pursuant to the board's authority under section 9.5.23, I move to make the following findings. First, the benefits outweigh the detriments. The modifications to the property protect the legitimate interests of adjoining property owners and provide benefits to the town and neighborhood that outweigh any adverse effects. It's consonant with the neighborhood. The design of the addition is consistent with the current structure and will remain in harmony with the budding properties. Concerning compliance, the petitioner satisfied the submittal requirements of section 9.5.5 of the bylaws, and the property building in with the addition complies with all dimensional density and height regulations of the bylaw or were previously permitted. Concerning parking and safe travel, the petitioner's renovations to the parking areas will improve vehicle and pedestrian traffic throughout the property. The modifications retain ample loading areas and parking spaces to accommodate all uses. including the store, and continue to ensure convenient and safe access throughout the property and do not negatively impact the ability for visitors, occupants, or first responders to safely enter, exit, and navigate safely throughout the property. Vehicles entering and exiting the property will continue to have more than sufficient sight distance to travel safely onto and throughout the property. Concerning utilities and lightings, the modifications do not negatively impact compliance with lighting, signage, landscaping, septic system capacity, water and electric service, waste disposal requirements, stormwater, or drainage requirements. Concerning protecting the natural environment, the modifications do not negatively impact the natural environment. The property and all modifications will comply with all current safety, energy, stormwater management, Title V, and building code requirements. Which bold and underlined.
He has to, I mean, in Scott, Mr. Fitzpatrick can't find when he does that, so there is a heavy hammer.
Concerning the fiscal benefit, the modifications are intended to improve the services offered by the various businesses operating at the property, and therefore should result in additional sales tax revenue to the town.
Motion made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Mr. Hartwell?
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none.
Hearing none.
Based on the aforementioned findings and the board's authority to grant such relief under section 9.4 of the bylaws, I move to modify the site plan approval under section 9.511, subject to the general conditions and the special conditions attached, and include the following. First, that unless otherwise approved by the Middleton Select Board, the facility is prohibited from combining with the convenience store and must remain a dedicated liquor store. 2, that the approval is subject to receiving approval from the Middleton Conservation Commission related to wetlands and stormwater management. 3, the petitioner shall provide no less than 2 handicap accessible parking spaces in full compliance with 521 CMR 23. The building commissioner shall review and confirm that all handicap spaces comply with 521 CMR 23. If, in the opinion of the building commissioner, the layout of the parking area does not comply and will require modifications to accommodate accessible handicap spaces, all such changes shall be deemed minor modifications, and the building commissioner, in his sole discretion, shall have authority to require and approve all such modifications. 4, all wall-mounted signs shall be replaced with new internally illuminated signs that comply with the requirements of section 5.2 of the bylaws. 5, the chain link fence with privacy slats and a gate will be installed to fully enclose the dumpster. And 6, subject to obtaining all necessary approvals from the building commissioner concerning resolving the active stop work order.
Okay, motion made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any additional discussion?
Can I just ask a clarifying question? We at one point, about the sign that mentioned an internally illuminated sign, we at one point I had a conversation with someone coming in for a zoning, for a permit for the sign, and I don't believe we've actually reviewed that application yet, so I just want to make sure that that's clear, that if that sign is something that needs to go through the zoning process, that it will be going through the zoning process.
The ones they're referring to are the wall mounts. The one that has to come in front of the board is the freestanding digital.
Yeah,
Cool.
5.2.
Thank you.
That's not this.
Great.
Because the ones that were originally on the wall were not, so
Okay.
they're gonna
Oh,
replace it.
yeah, we had that issue.
We made sure that was a special condition.
Thank
Any
you.
additional discussion beyond that? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved.
Thank you very much, appreciate your time, and I will talk to
Please,
him, I
please,
promise.
so please inform your client. If this is not resolved, or it's resolved, and then we get into another quagmire, and you're back here for something else,
No go.
it's not gonna happen.
Understood. Understood and appreciated. I appreciate your time tonight, thank you, have a good night, and I hope everybody drives home safe.
And publicly, thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Thank you for the work you're doing. Appreciate that. All right, new public hearings, 8 Johns Avenue. Madam Clerk.
Yep. The zoning board of appeals will hold a public hearing on Thursday, May 22nd, 2025, at Fuller Meadow on the application for Donna White for a special permit and variance. The applicant is proposing an addition to the front of an existing residence at 8 Johns Ave, found in Middleton Assessor's Map 18, Lot 141, plans on file with the town clerk. Are we still notifying abutters? Okay, it should be in language. Okay.
Okay, do we have someone here?
Never done this before.
Come on up to the microphone, introduce yourself, where you're from, and what you're requesting.
My name is Donna White. I bought the infamous 8 Johns Ave that everybody was looking at, and now we're trying to put the house itself, it's an old cottage, it was built in 1930. I'm trying to put a mudroom on the front of the house along with a covered porch. And, I'm trying to think ahead because this is it for me and my husband, where, this is the last house. And eventually, because of my husband's, he has like Guillain-Barré, different ailments and stuff, I know that eventually that porch is going to be a ramp to get to the house. So I'm trying to look ahead and do that. So that's the mudroom with the covered porch, and I know that it's not within, according to, with what I showed Anna, as far as not being compliant or something, And then the other thing I'm trying to work on is the ceiling, the roof line. Originally, the back of the house, the roof was a sun porch. So when you walk in the house, the back wall where the pond is, it's only 6 feet high. So the ceiling goes like this. So we're gonna take the roof off and fix the ceiling so that it's, so that I can walk in there. My husband's a little over 6 feet, so it would not work well for him. And then, that's basically it, I think.
So is the variance here because you are 8 feet short on the setback?
4.5 feet.
4.5 feet? Am I
Four
looking
and a
at the
half
wrong
feet.
thing?
Yeah, 4.5 feet, I believe.
This right here, it says requires variance, 35.5, 43.5.
Yeah, so the center line of the road would be 45.5 feet to the center line for that setback.
Oh, all right, got it. I'm looking at the dimension that was on the plan now.
Still further, it's 19 feet from the sideline, so it's still further than the other non-compliance on the lot.
Okay. Well, you have the floor, Mr. Amell. Any questions for the applicant?
I don't have any questions, no.
Okay. Carolyn?
None right now.
Done? Ann?
The Concom look at this?
There's a
What
note.
did it say?
There's, yeah,
They
there's something
approved,
from
yeah.
Kristen.
They approved
Yeah,
it.
I got the approval last week from Conservation, from Kristen.
Okay. Mr. Hatwell?
The lot's certainly unique. It's abutted on the back with the pond there, and it's, got that bow tie hexagon shape. It's not exactly a standard shaped lot for the district.
I would agree.
I don't necessarily, I don't feel like the lot, I feel like the lot is unique in the district itself. It doesn't, between the water and the shape, it certainly stands out.
That is a weird one.
It's certainly, without going into the setbacks, they would have to basically go up or out. I mean, I don't know how they could get around it.
There'd be no way,
So-
I'll just not build it, right? That would be the other option.
Okay. Linda, anything?
Nope, I can see that, it was unclear to me which side was actually the front, but now I've got this bigger than I saw it before, and I can see it.
So the mudroom in this covered entry faces the street?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Anyone from the public here have anything to say? Mr. Hatwell?
We have a special permit and a variance, so we'll start with the special permit. Under section 3.3, I will move to make the following finding, that the proposed extension of the structure will not be substantially more detrimental to the surrounding neighborhood because the addition will increase the habitability of the home while allowing for it to fit in better with the other year-round homes on the street and in the surrounding neighborhood.
Motion made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any additional discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Mr. Hatwell?
based on those findings, I move to approve the special permit under section 3.3 with our general conditions.
Okay. Motion made. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved.
Mr. Chair, concerning the variance, I move to make the following findings. One, that the property is bounded on one side by Mill Pond, which directly impacts development to the rear, and by the bow tie hexagonal shape of the lot, which directly impacts the front yard setback. Two, that the location of Mill Pond and the unique shape of the lot create a hardship, as the proposed addition cannot be constructed without relief. Three, the proposed addition will still be over 35 feet from the front property line, is over 16 feet further away than the existing garage, and will not be a substantial detriment to the public good. Four, the requested relief will not nullify or substantially derogate from the intent and purpose of the bylaws, as this property is unique in relation to other properties in the district, specifically its proximity to Mill Pond and to the rear, and its bow tie hexagonal shape, which I just like to say.
I knew you were going to say it twice. Motion made. Do I have a second?
I will second the bow tie hexagonal shape.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Are any opposed? So moved.
Good luck. I think
Good
it's-
luck.
It's going to look nice.
Yeah.
If
You did well, too, by the way, for the first time.
I did okay? So I can go home and tell my
You
husband
actually
that?
you did better than some that come in here. Yes.
wait
Yes. And is Peter Ogren still working? My gosh.
Oh, that's his son, right? That's stamped?
Is that his son?
No,
I'm trying to see I'm trying to see the stamp
Oh,
number.
actually is, no, he's still kicking.
Oh, Pete, yeah, with,
Yeah. Hayes Engineering. yes.
Hayes, yeah.
Peter Ogren. He's a legend.
yeah.
He is a legend.
All right. Anyway,
They
good
were,
luck with
they
the
were very good, because when I first got the survey done, I went and they said, it doesn't show the mudroom. This, I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. So now I called the guy up, and he couldn't work Monday, he was gonna do Tuesday. They were very, very, very nice. And honestly, at the end of the day, Anna, thank you so much. She did a lot. Kristen, all of them, Scott, Lisa, at that,
You're welcome. Good luck.
very nice working with all of them.
Good
And
luck with
looking
your-
forward to living in Middleton.
Yeah, good luck with your project.
Thank you very much.
I'll
Appreciate it.
send you a copy of the decision when we file it with the waiting
So how long
period.
does?
It's a 20-day appeal period.
Okay, so after that?
Yep.
Okay. So can't do anything until then?
Correct.
Anyway, okay, perfect. All right, thank you, guys.
Okay.
Appreciate it very much.
Anna, is there anything else for this evening? Have we contacted the consultant?
Yes,
And have they accepted the fact that we want to hire them?
yes, and they did. So to catch everyone up, we interviewed, for anyone who wasn't there, we interviewed 2 consultants last week for the comprehensive zoning review project. And the group that was present preferred VHB, so I did contact them, and they did amend their scope to fit within our budget. And so we're working on getting the award and contract signed on that.
And hopefully we can get
Yeah.
a schedule from them as soon as they're on board so that we can kind of get a
Yeah.
sense of what their plan is going to be.
Yeah, I should definitely have something by the June meeting, with a sense of where we're at, and then hopefully highlight the meetings that they would, come to, or we would need a few minutes of ZBA time to discuss that project.
Are they gonna be coming to us just as ZBA or as that kind of group with the planning board again? How are you thinking we're gonna do it?
So I would like them to come to each board separately.
Okay.
Yeah,
Each board separately?
at this point, yeah.
I think at some point, though, we may want to have a joint.
A joint.
Yeah, maybe towards the end, once we get some drafts or whatever
Yeah.
we're looking to do. Yeah, makes sense.
Just because at the end of the day, it rests here.
Right.
And that's important, I think, that we weigh in.
Yeah, and I think probably there's enough to talk about just between you all, to have to fill up the time of the meeting.
Okay?
Great.
Is there anything else? Does anyone have?
My only question is, I know at one point, Anna, you, I feel like you created a calendar for the rest of the year, or maybe that was last year.
No, I do have a project calendar.
Is that?
Yeah.
Where is that?
It's probably not anywhere accessible on the drive, but I can add it to the drive.
That would be
That'd be- yeah,
fantastic.
that'd be super
Thank you.
helpful.
Just as we look towards.
I'll also update it now that it's May.
Thank you.
There you go.
Probably need some updates.
Cool.
Okay.
So I guess that means they're ready to start quickly then, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're ready to get going. Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
Does anyone have anything else?
Next meeting is when?
Next meeting is
June 26th.
June 26th. My
June
goodness.
26th.
It'll be up to, what, 48 degrees by then.
Let's hope. Maybe.
Okay.
All right, I'll accept the motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved. Ann made the motion to adjourn, and Bill seconded it, and all those who
did.
were in favor and without objection were
Said
adjourned.
aye.
Awesome.
Yeah.